And welcome to this edition of Oxford News This Week. I'm Jim Hughes in solo today. It's made here in Oxford. One car makes a star appearance. That story and more on this edition of Oxford News This Week. Back with you on Oxford News This Week. The Crumley family returned to court last week, the entire family, hearings regarding the shooting on the 30th Oxford High School shooting. Ethan had his placement hearing on the 22nd of February at the Oakland County Circuit Court. Currently housed in the Oakland County Jail, his attorney stood before Judge Kwame Rowe, arguing his client should be returned to Children's Village. Prosecutors argued for his continued confinement at the Oakland County Jail. Ethan is charged with killing 4 students, injuring 7. Ethan, 15, is actually housed in the jail clinic area, a cell with a glass door with constant lighting. Another minor is also housed in a similar manner in that jail. Recreation time has been offered, though. Ethan refused solo recreation. He currently receives food similar to other inmates, plus nutritional supplements. He has access to a tablet with several apps, including games, email, and educational app from Khan Academy. Oakland County Sheriff Captain Thomas Vita could not testify how much Ethan has used the educational part of the tablet. Other forms of recreation include watching TV, reading Harry Potter books that was supplied by his caseworker. Ethan monitored communication showing he relishes his new infamy. Prosecutors stated Ethan receives messages from supporters praising him for the shooting and communicating with him, speaking of how highly of his treatment in jail and informing supporters of his upcoming court dates so they can actually see him on TV. Vita also testified Ethan has an extensive commissary account due to people putting money in there. Ethan asked Oakland County Jail officials on the 17th of December how he would be able to receive his mail, good or bad. 18 pieces of evidence to support what the evidence plans for him. He was planning on doing torturing students, other female classmate. Video of Ethan actually killing a bird as some of the evidence that was uncovered. Journal entries about wanting to see the aftermath of the shooting. The prosecutors, his violent behavior intentions set him apart from other children. Again, the Children's Village manager, Heather Calcaterra, manager of Children's Village, testified that she was unsure how him being transferred there would affect other people. Jennifer and James Crumley returned to court on the 52nd 3rd District Court in Rochester Hills day with a preliminary hearing. Presiding Judge Julie Nicholson on that day, February 24th, both faced 4 counts of first-degree manslaughter after hearing witness testimony and arguments from the state. Crumley, with the parents of course, Ethan Crumley, Nicholson bound the case over to the Oakland County Circuit Court. Nicholson said the hearing began with the defense cross-examining with computer crimes detective Edward Wakrowski and electronic evidence he recovered through investigating the shooting. According to the detective, he discussed text messages sent between Ethan and a friend where Ethan expressed concern over his mental state, including conversation with Ethan claims James gave him some pills and told him to suck it up. He also stated that Jennifer Crumley had laughed at this. Oxford High School guidance counselor Sean Hopkins testified on the November 30th shooting that he first met Ethan after he was caught drawing on his math homework and watching videos in class. Hopkins became concerned that Ethan had suicidal ideations. He called Jennifer and sent a copy of the math worksheet, though she tried to send James instead. The parents were friendly, and seemed disinterested, according to the counselor. Ethan, upon arriving, showed no concern about Ethan's possible suicidal thoughts and refused to pull Ethan out of school due to the work. Hopkins recommended Ethan be pulled from the school and provided a list of care providers. Hopkins also said they had put Ethan into treatment within 48 hours after they refused to remove him from school property. Since the parents left him and the dean of students said there was no disciplinary action to remove from the school, Hopkins wrote Ethan a pass back to class. The Oxford resident custom car was on display this past weekend at the Autorama. It was a car, a 1960 Oldsmobile Dynamic Bubble Top. It was being showed as part of the display of cars for the Pontiac-based Paul's Auto Interiors. The car was purchased in Lansing in November 2019. It became a lockdown project for Kuchonaki and neighbor Dave Guda. Again, that was on display last weekend. Students at the middle school donated well over 450 items of food and around to $100 to Connie Miller's Free Meals program on Friday the 25th of February. The original plan was to donate the food Tuesday on the 22nd, but it was a snow day and there was no way that could happen. Wood Chips Express ran the donation drive for the program with that day as well, coinciding with the 2-year anniversary. The Free Meals program is currently based out of the Emmanuel Congregational Church, passing out food and groceries anyone from 5 to 6:30 on Wednesday nights. Donations are always available if you need help passing out groceries and preparing food. Those interested in donating time, goods, and money can contact Connie Miller at 248-933-4579. Emmanuel Congregational has its own Free Meals program on Tuesday afternoons from 5:30 to 6:30, and it's hosting the St. Patrick's Day Dinner fundraiser. That'll be on March 17th from 5 until 7. Made in Oxford. These 3 words are synonymous with quality. Everyday, unique, and useful products are designed and made in this township and the facilities along Lapeer Road, M24 and Glassby Street, the Adventure Lane, Oakwood Road, Metamora Road, and Excelsior Drive. Creative minds conspire with skillful hands to produce a variety of items in an effort to promote and manufacturing companies in the Oxford Township. It's still highlighting some of the interesting products made in this community, Rochester. Welding Company of Rochester, just one of them at 2793 Metamora, founded back in 1976 by Thomas Sears and Bradley McLean. That Oxford, who has since passed away on January 2012 at the age of 58. Rochester Welding fabricates high-quality metal products for a wide range of industries and customers. The company has been based here in Oxford since 1988 and is currently housed in the state-of-the-art 80,000 square foot facility located just east of M24 and south of Oakwood Road. Rochester Welding currently employs 38 people on a full-time basis. To learn more about Rochester Welding, please visit their website. It's all one word, rochesterwelding.com. Members of the Lake Point Community Church Quilt Ministry presented 7 handmade quilts to the 7 survivors of the November 30th mass shooting at the Oxford High School. Each of the blue and gold quilts were designed with the Oxford Strong theme. According to Deb Hotman, who leads the quilt ministry, survivors and prayer requests printed on each quilt so people could walk up and say the prayers for the beneficiaries. The ministry is part of the Prayers and Squares International and Interfaith Outreach Organization, whose motto is not about the quilts, is about the prayers. The quilt ministry makes quilts upon request for people going through life-changing events. Back in December, they also made 4 quilts for the 4 families who lost their children on November 30th. The fabrics are donated by Joanne Fabrics of Auburn Hills. The backs are donated by the 2nd Street Quilt Shop in Rochester. Some good news and great work there. With that, we'll have Dave Kenny with Auto Talk and Science in the News. I'll be back to do the sports, and we are going to close it out. Very special closeout. I believe we're having Connie Miller in to close the news out. We'll do that as we get back with Oxford News this week. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from Automotive News. Ford Motor Company on March 2nd said it's separating its internal combustion and electric vehicle businesses with a goal of increasing profit margins and getting engineers, designers, and developers more focused on the unique needs of each powertrain. EVs, which the automaker now expects to account for 30% of its global sales within 5 years and half by 2030, will be part of a unit called Ford Model E, while the combustion unit will be called Ford Blue. The 2 units, along with the recently created Ford Pro commercial unit, will collaborate in some areas, but largely operate independently. We're literally splitting the business in half, said CEO Jim Farley. Ford also is boosting its EV investment plan by another $20 billion or $50 billion total through 2026, Farley said. The company last May said it would spend $30 billion on EV development with a promise that four of every 10 vehicles it sells would be battery powered by 2030. Ford is also planning its big changes for its dealer body. The automaker wants certain numbers of retailers to opt into selling EVs under a new set of standards that will include carrying no inventory, selling at non-negotiable prices, and being held to fewer facility requirements. Farley, who declined to say how many dealers he wants to participate in the electric retail model, said Ford plans to discuss the upcoming changes with dealers over the next 2 months before finalizing the standards. The automaker is shuffling some executive roles also. Farley will be president of Model E in addition to CEO, while Kumar Galhotra, president of the Americas and International Markets Group, will be president of Ford Blue. Ford plans to report earnings for its EV, combustion, and commercial units separately starting next year. In a news conference on March 2nd, Farley said the business units would continue to be physically headquartered and run in Dearborn. Nothing's changing, said Farley. Will we have new satellite operations where we have expertise? Maybe in Tel Aviv or Palo Alto? Sure. He added that Ford planned to update work policies to add flexibility for where employees live. Although product development, supply chain, and customer experience teams will be separated between the combustion and EV units, Farley said the two units will collaborate and complement each other in a handful of areas. At the Blue Oval City assembly plant being built in Tennessee, Ford Blue will handle body engineering and manufacturing operations, Farley said, while Model E will design the plant itself and source its advanced electrical architectures. Model E will also handle upcoming digital services, software, and over-the-air update experiences, although such services will be available in gasoline vehicles as well. The company also hopes to avoid the notion that it soon plans to wind down its gasoline-powered products. Galhotra said in a statement that Ford Blue plans to unleash the full potential of nameplates such as Bronco and Maverick and the Raptor Performance variant. Ford says it hopes to take out $3 billion in structural costs from its Ford Blue business by 2026. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and we'll be right back.
Do you love local sports? Whether it's Oxford High School or Parks and Rec, you can buy copies of each game. To purchase your copy, call us at 248-628-9658 or give us an email at manager@occtv.org or talk to us at the next game. Hopefully we'll see you there.
Device. Back with you on Oxford News this week. Time for some sports, actually sports wrap-up. We were able to cover a few of the games in the school there. It was great to be back there. And my new broadcast partner, I want to thank her, Becky Bannis. We have had a good time with our team over there. Oxford High School varsity basketball teams played their final home games this past week. The girls moving into the playoffs while the boys faced one last week at the OAA Blue Showdown. The girls had a strong pair of home games. The OAA White rivals scoring 49-27 over Lake Orion. That was a great game that night. Tuesday, February 22nd, 41-29 win over Rochester Adams and the Highlanders on Thursday. The 24 top players for the week were Kayla Casper with 13 points against Lake Orion, Miranda Winimko 10 points, and against Lake Orion, and 19 points against Adams, and Sophia Rab with 10 against Lake Orion. Girls end their regular season with the overall record kind of impressive here, 12-5, placing third in the OAA White Division, 8-4 record behind the 9-4 Lake Orion, and 13-1 Rochester Falcons, and their performance was good enough to earn a bye on Monday, making the Grand Blanc Bobcats their first playoff opponent at Davison High School. The game started, that was already played. We'll have news on that next week. The boys kind of finished off their season with their playoff match against the Flint Kearsley Hornets, also hosted by Davison, but wrapped up their regular season home games with a 43-64 loss against Detroit Country Day. I was unable to be there Wednesday. It was on the 23rd of February. That loss, very close loss, 45-55. OAA Blue loss to Rochester on the top players, and the week with Esmond with 19 points against 12 rebounds against Country Day, 19 points and 9 rebounds against Rochester. Champaign had 12 points against Rochester. Benjamin Cruz with a strong defense on a three-pointer against Rochester. Last week, the losses put the boys just above the OAA Blue with a 4-4 league record, tying Troy Athens, beating out a 1-7 at Southfield Arts and Tech. Jumping off to the lanes, bowling now. Both the Oxford Wildcat and girls bowling teams finished off their regular season as the OAA Red Division champions. They won their crowns with a win over Avondale on Monday. The boys won 27-3. Girls won 30-0. The girls were 7-1 overall in a season, 3-all on the Red Division. According to the bowling coach Claude Laffner, the girls last won the OAA Red in 2019. This is their 4th league title. The boys went to 11-1-1 overall, 4-0-1 in the division. This is the boys' 9th straight league championship and their 10th title win overall. The teams have the OAA League Tournament Wednesday and regionals in Lansing on Friday. Leading up to their wins on Monday, the Cats also hosted crosstown rivals Lake Orion last week. Both the boys and girls teams took care of Lake Orion, the Dragons, on the 14th. That, again, it was almost well over a month ago. It was also a senior night for the team. The boys swept both Baker games and cruised to a 27-3 victory. The Wildcats got a solid bowling from the entire team. Jason Pasling shot a 202 and a 182 to score 2 for the Cats. The other bowlers scored points were Tommy Mace, 236, Jake Love at 208, Blake Denning had 223, Preston Coupler 211. That's pretty impressive bowling. And the girls' match against Lake Orion was much closer. The girls did split the Baker games at the Oxford, came to a 6-4 lead. The Wildcat won game 1 by 109 pins, leading the Wildcats to Tessa Bonk with 200. Macy Strevel had 179. Kylie Penzience 161. Ashley Bales at 146. All took points in the game. Bales 175. Bonk would win, and that was all the Wildcats needed to win the entire match. Score pretty impressive, 22-8. That's going to wrap it in sports. We still got more news ahead. Stay right there. I'm Jim Hughes. I'll be back with Connie Miller, and we'll have some other stuff involved there as well on Oxford News this week. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. Global warming might increase the number of tropical cyclones in other parts of the world, but reduce them in the Atlantic due to weakening circulation. In parts of the world, tropical cyclones could become more intense and more frequent as the planet heats up. But in the Atlantic, there might be fewer hurricanes than there are now because of a weakening of a key ocean current. You could argue that this is some good news, but the negative effects of climate change are devastating, says René van Westen at Utrecht University in the Netherlands. At present, warm water from the tropical Atlantic flows north towards Greenland and northern Europe, where it cools, sinks, and flows along the ocean floor back to the southern hemisphere. This current, called the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC, transports vast amounts of heat, shaping climates around the Atlantic. Global warming is expected to slow down this circulation, leading to a wide range of effects from faster sea level rise on North Atlantic coastlines to more droughts in Africa. Standard climate models do not have enough high resolution to simulate tropical cyclones, so Van Westen and his colleagues used a high-resolution model. They modeled a scenario in which emissions keep rising and the global temperature rises more than 3 degrees Celsius by around 2100. According to this model, this will result in the AMOC weakening by about 25% by the end of the century. Compared with the period 2003 to 2007, this is predicted to lead to a 45% fall in the number of tropical hurricanes between 2093 and 2097, although those that form will be intense. By contrast, the model predicts that the Western Pacific will see a 15% increase in the number of tropical cyclones, as well as an increase in intensity. The team did not look in detail at other parts of the world. Van Westen presented the findings during a virtual talk at the Ocean Scientists Meeting 2022. According to the model, there will also be a shift northward in hurricane formation in the Atlantic, with fewer tropical cyclones forming in the Caribbean. The team also estimated that the return times of extreme wind speeds around the Atlantic, which is a way of measuring the risk of places being hit by storms. Their findings suggest that return times will fall across most of the Caribbean and the U.S. East Coast, but rise in other areas of the North Atlantic. If the world does eventually start reducing emissions and limits warming to well under 3 degrees Celsius, Van Westen expects the drop in hurricane numbers to be smaller. All his team's findings are based on one high-resolution model, he cautions, so other groups need to do similar studies to help confirm the results. Well, that's it for Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
Back with you on Oxford News this week. Great to have you along with us in another newscast here. And, you know, obviously, we see you around town. We see you on Connie's Kitchen. But definitely good to have Connie Miller here as we close out our news. And there was earlier this morning, there was a breakfast or something that went out. What happened?
This was a very special day.
Okay.
A couple of weeks ago, Terry, who was on the chamber board,
Okay.
I was teasing her about, having to go to these breakfasts. And she says, well, you're going. I said, no, I'm not. She goes, oh, you're going. Okay, boss, if you want me there, I'll be there.
Right.
Little did I know that what they had planned was to honor the free meal program.
Oh, you walked in blindly. You
I
didn't.
kind of knew something was coming, but I didn't know what, because Terry
Okay.
thought she had to tell me in order to convince me to go. And I said, no, you telling me I'm going is enough, because
Okay.
you're my boss.
And this, what does it say
This
here?
beautiful plaque, presented not to me, but to the free meal team.
Right.
And I do have my glasses.
I mean, I got mine if we need
It says,
to.
a true leader has the confidence to stand alone, the courage to make tough decisions, and the compassion to listen to the needs of others. Does not set out to be a leader, but becomes one by the equality of his actions and the integrity of his intentions. Douglas MacArthur.
Okay.
There were many people honored today. There were many more that could have been. Hannah from Soothe Your Soul for all her work in the aftermath of the shooting in November.
Okay.
Christian Mills for opening up Legacy and putting all of his
Oh, yeah.
resources out there. Sick Pizza, Scott and Tom, they raised $102,000 in
Oh.
3 or 4 days. Joe Medor and Terry Onika from the village,
Okay.
they were behind the scenes and getting things moving and answering questions that had never been asked before, and they did it seamlessly.
Right.
Myself and the free meal team, and Mike Solwald, our chief. So it was a very impressive list. I'm honored to be among those people.
I have to ask you, okay, we were talking about the meal program, and I mean, times like this, like right now, I mean, the country's going through some rough times, and that, if somebody wants to reach out right now and they want to help out, how can they do that with you?
Call me.
Give you a call, and you'll take
248-933-4579. Everybody has my number.
cash donations or
Cash
even food or
donations.
whatever.
Yeah, week to week right now, the need, our number of meals, last year at this time, we were serving about 180. Right now, we're between 100 and 130 meals, but the biggest demand is for groceries.
Groceries, okay.
Milk, eggs, bread, produce, meat, whatever we have, plus bagged groceries, all the things that the guests could possibly need. And that need has skyrocketed the last couple
I
of
mentioned to you,
weeks.
like I said, driving up here, I come up Jocelyn Road, and you said there's many food programs, and I've never seen so many cars in this one food program that you had mentioned. I mean, before I used to see 20 and 30, and I thought, well, that's a lot of cars, right?
Yeah.
Today it was like 4 deep and all that, so.
That was down at Woodside. And That's the Forgotten Harvest program.
Okay.
I was told this morning at the breakfast, which by the way was absolutely lovely. The chamber put on a really beautiful breakfast, a beautiful gathering, and made those of us who were honored feel very honored.
Okay.
Very honored. I cried through the whole thing because I was so moved by everyone's
I heard
speeches.
you teared up a little.
A lot,
Yeah.
because of everything I was hearing. By the time it was time for me to speak, I was a puddly mess. But I'm not crying now.
Okay.
So it's a huge commitment on the part of everyone in this community and the way people pull together. So when I accept this, I accept it on the behalf of the team, Emmanuel Church,
Okay.
the community. And as I looked out into that room, there were so many faces.
Right.
He helped unload trucks. He brought me a load of coats. There'd be just so many people.
I've seen you worked with a lot of people over the years. I mean, young people that would help you prepare the meals.
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff.
still do. We love to have the kids.
Okay, that's very good.
But I was told this morning by someone at the breakfast, they were concerned about what I needed because some of the food pantries are running out or are out.
Okay.
And I said, well, we're okay for now and maybe next week, but I never know. So
Any donations accepted, and you're going
Yep.
to put it to work and need.
put it right back into the community. Everything
good.
goes right back into the community. And it's very appreciated by our guests. Very appreciated.
Well, I mean, let me say, you're very appreciated in the community, obviously, with the not with the word, but I know you accept that on behalf of the entire team, but I mean, you do a lot of work around the community that goes unnoticed, and again, I just want to say thank you, and I know the community of Oxford feels the same way, and all those honorees, I mean, these are the stories we want to talk about. We do have to bring in stories that are news, and a lot of that isn't that good, but I mean, the positive right here is what happened this morning at that breakfast.
It is. And you know, none of these people all tell you the same thing. Nothing works unless you're working together. My support starts with my husband,
Right.
who, can't tell you, goes above and beyond. And many people today found out for the first time that CJ Carnacchio is my husband. So surprise, surprise.
I was surprised when I found out. I
Surprise,
mean, I
it's
found
only
out
been
many years
21
ago.
years.
Yeah.
But everyone will tell you that it doesn't work unless we're all working together and working in the same direction. And this last couple of years has been proof of that, because I couldn't have done this alone.
Do you know how when I found out? We were doing the parade down here, and you were down there,
yeah.
and I kept saying, I'm
Yeah.
like, well, Connie and CJ are pretty good friends or something like that, and then I realized it was, okay.
21 beautiful, beautiful years. It just keeps getting
Well,
better.
congratulations again to the honorees of this morning's breakfast and the true heroes of our community. And again, if you want to help Connie with any of the food program, get a hold of her. She can easily be accessed here at the TV station. Everybody's got our number, and you could do a very worthwhile cause. It's going to wrap it up for this edition of Oxford News this week. I hope you will join us again next week. We're on many platforms. Got Connie here. I could probably find out where we're at. We're everywhere. We're on TV. We're on YouTube. You can check us out.
Facebook.
What's our website? Do you have our website? Terry
No,
usually does that
Terry,
part.
OCCTV.gov, I think.
If you
or
can't
.org.
find us, you're not really looking, okay?
call.
We're here, and we're going to be back with another edition of Oxford News this week. On behalf of the team here, Dave Kenny, myself, Jim Hughes, of course, Connie Miller, the man in the back who puts it all together, Dan Zweiss. Have a great week. We'll be back again on next week's edition of Oxford News this week. Have a good week.